Ooh, some water. Am I the a-hole for getting mad my artist hid their initials in my tattoo? This one is a short one. Names changed for privacy. I went to a tattoo shop in my area with a photo of the tattoo I wanted. It was one my dad had gotten to, or it was one my dad had gotten to honor my past grandfather, whose father had also had it. But the point is, it was important to me that the tattoo looked exactly as it did in the photo. I get to the shop, I explain everything. I pay to get the tattoo, and we're done. I think it looks awesome. Everything is great, until a few weeks later, when I show my great-grandmother the tattoo. She's static, grabs my arm to look at it, and compliment it, then asks, "Who's AJ?" I ask her what she means, and she points out on the tattoo where the names where the initials A and J, or maybe T, were hidden into the tattoo. I am instantly pissed, as my artist's name is Alice Trevor. She tries to assure me it's no big deal, as if I hadn't noticed it till now, but I still reached out to the artist, sort of irritated. They told me the style of art I got is so-called traditional, and it's pretty trad for all artists who do that style to do it. I demanded a partial refund, and they refused, so I complained to the owner, who made the artist give me a full refund. Now the artist is running a full smear campaign, talking about moving shops and all kinds of stuff. My sister says I'm an a-hole for pushing the issue, but I feel like, at the end of the day, I told you exactly what I wanted, and you didn't do that. Am I the a-hole?
So I guess there's factors here. To me, is I feel like you're not the a-hole, because it's not like we needed to sign his works, because it is a kind of a traditional tattoo for you, because it's generational,
Yeah.
right? But if it was like a Disney type art piece, I could see that happening, and sure, there should be this initial hidden in there. But no, I don't feel like you would ask what to do.
I think, in this instance, if I went in with a very specific, I have siblings with tattoos, I have parents with tattoos, I had an uncle with tattoos, and if I very specifically went in and wanted an identical tattoo to any of those, I would be pretty upset if it wasn't at least a fairly solid attempt at an identical tattoo, I would probably have looked around for the right artist to do it. I'm not sure if this person did that. And so if they, without discussing it with me, hid their initials in the work, I would be pretty unhappy about that. If it was, say, just like a regular piece where it wasn't identical to someone else's work, and I didn't ask for like an exact copy of someone else's work, sure, I can understand that. I can see that, you know, kind of being a thing. However, with the fact that it was very specifically asked to be an identical, yeah, I don't think that this person is the a-hole. Yeah. I mean, to play the other side of it, if this artist has literally done that in every piece they've ever done, you know, I can see the desire and the wanting to do that, to have their initials in this piece as well. However, I do feel like that should be communicated to the client.
That it's a normal thing that he does with everything.
Absolutely.
Initials in everything, whether it's your design that you bring or one he makes.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that that's definitely something that I would be wanting to have be communicated. Especially like for me, hear me out, taking all of that out of the equation, the fact that it was a duplicate tattoo to someone else and everything like that. If we take that out of the equation, I don't want anybody else's initials on my body.
Whoever the female was that saw the initials thought it was boyfriend or something and was trying to figure out who that was.
Well, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure who the initial thought would have been of, but I mean, I understand if I found a perfect tattoo artist to do a piece and they sign all of their work, I'd probably be okay with having their initials hidden in the piece. But with that being said, I would like it communicated to me so that I can know I'm going to have somebody's initials on me for the rest of my life. I think, yeah. So I'm gonna dub them not the a-hole, and looking here, Reddit also dubs them not the a-hole. Alright, so am I the a-hole for serving my sister's husband using toy utensils? I, male 17, moved in with sister after my parents kicked me out for coming out. They said I'll be here temporarily till I get back to normal, which I don't think I will. But anyways, so I moved in with my sister and her husband about a month ago. FYI, she does everything around the house. I started helping here and there, as well as looking after a 2-year-old niece, and now she's 6 months pregnant. Brother-in-law does nothing because he's the breadwinner, as he claims, but in my opinion, he's taken it a bit too far. He'd tell her to get a start on his laundry once he takes off his clothes, put dinner on the table once he's home, get the shower ready, and so on. They fight a lot because my sister is exhausted and burnt out. I usually put my headphones on and mind my own business, but 2 nights ago there was a lot of commotion. Once There was a lot of commotion once Hart home, so I went to see what the issue was. It turns out brother-in-law was complaining about dinner and my sister was too exhausted to get up. I mean, the dinner was already cooked, but he wanted her to put it on the plate or on the table for him. I told my sister I'd do it, but instead of using their kitchen utensils, I used my niece's toy utensils like toy cup, toy plate, toy fork, and knife, and tiny napkin. I put the food on the toy plate and the drink in the toy cup while brother-in-law was in the shower. He then came into the kitchen and sat down and stared at the plate for a few seconds. He looked at me and asked what the heck this was and whether I was joking. I told him if he wanted to act like a helpless child, then he might as well get treated like one. He began yelling and my sister came inside. He then threw the napkin and stormed off upon saying that I disrespected him and that he'll let my parents know about what I did. My sister saw what I'd done and started laughing. I went inside my room, but the argument didn't stop. Now he's expecting apology for me meddling in his marriage and pulling this stunt on him. I could be the a-hole for this, but I was just so mad for my sister and also sick and tired of being sick and tired of the nightly fighting over dinner. So.
Yeah. Clearly you can't take a joke. You take it hard. But the only reason he probably doesn't understand is because he's been doing this way for so long that he doesn't understand if it's not his way, it's not right. So it's the person's being really stupid. So I don't really think that this person's an a-hole. It's just a really funny thing. And it's definitely, definitely could have seen myself doing the same thing. And it's working. But it's just, yeah. So I definitely don't think this is disease.
I can agree. I mean, though you're a guest in someone's house, in a way. I mean, I get that you're kind of living there indefinitely for the time being. And it's tough because you're kind of so young, like you're 17, and so you probably feel kind of like a little stuck there, not really knowing what options are out there as far as supports and stuff in place for you. I'm not exactly sure where this person is, but there's probably hopefully somewhere to turn that could possibly point you in the direction of supports, because it doesn't sound like either of the options of places for them to be are maybe the most healthy. As far as putting the toy utensils out for the brother-in-law, I think that there's maybe some details left out, because I know when I was 17 I probably didn't totally understand the full situation in things, and I definitely didn't understand marital dynamics and stuff like that. But I think it's kind of funny. Would I do it to my brother-in-law? Probably not. I feel like I'd feel pretty bad if I did that to my brother-in-law.
Yeah, well, I think I would do it. I think I would do it.
If one of my brothers was being a bit,
Yeah, I would do it.
I mean, hear me out, I might do it to one of my brothers, but I don't know if they'd necessarily, hopefully, give me reason to. We'll find out, I guess. I don't know. I might borrow this idea in the future. I don't know. I don't know if it'll be for a sibling or for like a random friend. Like, I don't know. Random situation. I think it's funny. Again, I don't know. I don't think you're technically the a-hole. You're 17, and 17-year-olds make interesting choices, so, you know.
Yeah. But that's the other thing. You need to see this person as a person of learning and understanding, and, you know, clearly that person is not taking that into consideration. That's why things may be apologize, but
Yeah.
the kid. They think you're being acceptable, and that's their response. Your response will be within reason. And then you're like making them apologize and calling you out on being a narcissist. You know?
Well, and I think too, like, if, hear me out, we had one of my younger siblings here, or like one of the younger people from your family here, I feel like our goal wouldn't be to, I mean, kind of make their life miserable, like this. Our goal would probably be to, like, help support them, and I don't know, if they're maybe struggling in feeling the support from family, like, because, I mean, clearly in this situation, being kicked out of the family or kicked out of the family home, for reasons I would say are kind of outside of their control, you know? I feel like we'd try to show them some love and some acceptance, and I don't know, like, but I can also understand if you know, if we were struggling as a couple and stuff like that, or struggling as, not that we don't struggle, but like, how that might be hard. But in the situation, as far as the cutlery goes, I don't think you're the a-hole. I think that's really funny, honestly. If you were being a little salty at some point, and we had, I mean, we do have children's plates and stuff here for when we have people visit. I'm pretty sure if one of us was being a little salty one day, we might pull this trick out now. Because I think it's funny. So I think not the a-hole. Reddit decided that everyone sucks in this instance. So I agree that other people might suck, but I don't know if the poster actually sucks. So yeah. Alright, our next one. I'm gonna roast marshmallows over nothing while I read this. Am I the a-hole? And this one is a new one, so Reddit has not decided if they are or are not an a-hole. So, am I the a-hole for having a vulgar and unprofessional nickname? I work in a hospital with around 6 to 7 other guys in my department, along with the chief of our department. A part of our workplace culture, which I frankly find cool, is to have nicknames at work. Our nicknames are pretty much interchangeable with our actual names. Say, my name's John, but sometimes they'll say, hey, involve nickname in this case too. Or say, hey John, how was your weekend? And I'll respond, boring nickname, what about yours? The nicknames aren't anything offensive at all, by the way. Here's a rundown. We've got Speedy, who got her nickname because we saw her sprint once and she's insanely fast. Archer, who's a former archery champion. Seer, because she's super into divination. Snowborn because he's never cold. The chief, whose nickname is the King. The story of the King is actually pretty cool, to be honest. He was the youngest ever chief in any department, and one of the older folks called him the Boy King. He's definitely not a boy now, so he's just the King. My name is the Grave Walker. Reason being, I work the graveyard, middle of the night shift, most of the time. I love it. The hospital is nice and quiet, and the only patients that come in are real cases that genuinely need help. I also have some scars, which contributed to the badass nickname, according to the chief. Personally, I think the nicknames are great, as do the rest of us, because it's brought us a little closer, and frankly, my nickname's cool. Call me immature, but we work dead serious jobs and need a little bit of humor and fun sometimes. A new girl joined us, and she was very against nicknames. When she found out someone said, "Hey, involve the Grave Walker in this case. He's experienced with this," she found me scary to approach because of that name. Now she refuses to call anyone by the nickname, and if I reference someone by the nickname, she just used to flat out ignore me. The chief had a chat with her about respecting the workplace culture and how she needs to integrate better. So instead, she came after me, yelling at me about how my nickname is vulgar, unprofessional, and I should have denied it when they gave it to me. She told me to talk to everyone, but make it seem like like it came from me, so she doesn't get into trouble. If it's relevant, we haven't given her a nickname yet, and now we try to reference each other's nicknames, or each other's names when talking to her. So, not each other's nicknames, each other's names when talking to her. I also told her to go F herself when she came yelling, and she looked like she was about to faint. Am I the a-hole?
No. Honestly, because it's really hard going into a big workplace, meshing with everybody immediately well. But I just would say that these are not good hires because this person doesn't have the capacity to understand and separate nicknames that are okay and what they think is not okay. Because clearly you've been using them for years or whatever. And it's not that offensive. I thought when you're reading this, I definitely thought it would be a lot more offensive. Like, that nickname does make sense, so it's not like it's very upsetting to everybody. I can understand how some people could find it offensive in a hospital, but to the average person, I wouldn't find it offensive. So I would just say it's a poor hire, and that this person probably won't work out that year.
I will play the other side of it, because I don't necessarily disagree. I don't know about necessarily poor hire, like, I'm sure it's something you could get past in a hire. However, like, I don't know, maybe she's coming from a job where they did have, like, or where she's had a really rough experience with, like, very unprofessional nicknames. And I mean, I guess I'm more thinking like where we are, where our healthcare system is also government, and so maybe there's less nicknames used in that. I've also I don't know, in terms of like report writing, it's probably good that you know each other's like actual names, which I'm sure they obviously at this point all do. It can make it a little bit harder as far as like a new hire arriving and joining the team.
Yeah, the vision split.
Yeah.
People who know
Yeah.
But it's clear that they usually mix it both,
Yeah.
right? The FWD work, if they didn't understand who it was,
Yeah. Ask for that
be like, wait, who is
clarification.
that person? And then they would obviously specify who that person actually was,
Yeah.
right? But again, saying this person is zero interest in learning nicknames, I believe would be the case as well, because they would as they can,
Yeah.
and trying to get the whole work environment to change for what they want.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I don't know. Do I want to be helped, worked on, I don't know, in a hospital setting by someone that's called, what was it? The grave keeper? Grave walker. Grave
Yeah,
walker?
that's fine.
I've been really sick. You've been really sick. I don't know. That seems like bad juju.
If it was a great murderer or something, then yeah, that would be a little bit more concerning. Or there's a
Grave
great
robber.
night stalker or something, but it's just yeah, that's fine. Because if she comes in at night, yeah, that makes sense.
So like,
Nice
where
bitch.
are we drawing the line on this though? Like, where's the line? It starts at, like, you know, King and Speedy, and it's now, you know, it's we've got Gravewalker. I mean, I hear me out. I did think, referring, like, with the title as it being, you know, a vulgar nickname, I really did think it was going to be,
Body type is
yeah,
inappropriate.
yeah, or something.
You know, something like that.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I'm a little relieved at what it was.
It comes across very mild as to what it could be.
It really does.
As like, you know, big hair or something like that.
Yeah.
So definitely could be worse. So yeah, that's why I don't think they are the answer. The other person.
So, I think... Is there an option of, like, kind of the a-hole? Because I do feel like he's maybe responding a little incorrectly, though. Because, hear me out, I also told her to go F herself when she came yelling and she looked like she was about to faint. And so, I mean, like, again, it's in a healthcare setting. And I get that tensions run high, emotions run high, like, especially this last while, like, people are severely overworked, and, you know, I get it, I see it. I just don't know if there's really any reason to, like, tell your coworkers to go F off over something as simple as a nickname, like, you know, that just seems a little, like,
professionalism has to have a standard of some sort, right?
yeah, and so, I mean, it starts with the nicknames, and we're telling people to F off, and we're like, you know, I mean, I don't know. So kind of the a-hole because of his reaction to it, like his response to it. Like, I'm sure there's probably a far more mature way to, like, handle this.
Yeah, probably, but...
He's also turned to the internet for, like...
That's going into the work environment, and there's not much information.
Yeah. But, like, he's also jumping onto the internet to complain about this. I just feel like this person is unprofessional. Like, I could be wrong. Like, obviously, I really have very few details about the whole situation. I don't want to go by those things again. Okay. No, there's one over here. Yeah, you are. Yeah, like, I don't know, this person, to me, seems a little on the unprofessional side, so, like, maybe, and again, I don't know. I mean, I'm here reading stuff off of Reddit, so what do I know? Ooh, there's another one over there. Okay, I'll come to that one that's over there, and we'll do that one first. So I mean, I would say kind of the a-hole due to, like, their reaction to it. Is it not showing up? There it is. in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
But I mean, yours can be not the a-hole because of reasons that you've specified as well. Like, that's fine.
Yeah,
Um,
Just one more thing.
Alright, let's see. So which one do you think? This one? This one or this one?
No, the first one.
Not this one?
No.
Okay. Alright, I'm gonna roast a marshmallow while I read our last one here. Oh, wrong thing. I keep doing that. There we go. Thank you. So, am I the a-hole for leaving my friend at a restaurant when he tried to get a free meal out of me? Yesterday I went out to dinner with two of my friends, who we'll label as C and J, to a new restaurant we'd never tried before. At first, the night went okay. We all got our meals, joked around, and had a good time. Then came time to pay for our meals. When the waitress asked if we wanted to separate the checks, I said yes. C gave me a weird look at first. When the waitress got back to us, C handed me his check and said, "I thought you were paying." At first I thought he was joking and handed it back to him. Then he puts on a serious face. At this point I knew he wasn't kidding. I asked him why he didn't bring any money, and he said, "Well, you invited me. I thought you were paying for us." Jay and I looked at each other like, did he really just say that? Normally I wouldn't have much of a problem with it, but 1, I only brought cash, and 2, he ordered over $100 worth of food. I told C I couldn't pay for him, and Jay straight up refused. He goes on to call us both scumbags, loud enough to attract attention, saying we're bad friends, things like that. At no point did we ever agree to pay for him. I even gave him and Jay a ride to the restaurant. At this point, Jay and I were ready to leave, and C was still throwing a tantrum. The waitress picks up our checks, and me and Jay go to the exit, leaving C behind. As Jay and I pull out, we start getting a string of texts asking where we went. We told C to F off, and if we're such bad friends, he could find his own way home. We still have no idea what happened after that, because he blocked our numbers. At the time it felt good, but a couple of our mutual friends are calling us a-holes, and we should have just paid for him and got the money back later. I know for a fact he wouldn't have paid me back. Am I the a-hole?
Well, my initial thought is no. But the other thing that I was thinking is he told other friends, and those friends were telling you that you're the a-hole. Who really knows what he said to those friends about the situation so that they would call you the a-hole? You know, because obviously he's not going to because he blocked your numbers and doesn't want to talk to you about anything. So,
Yeah. Well, and I've been in this position. I mean, probably on both sides of it. I don't know. I'm sure friends have paid for me when maybe they didn't plan to. I'm not sure. I'd have to check with them. If that's the case, I apologize. But I know I've been on it from the other side as well, where I've paid for people, where they just kind of were like, at the end, were like, "Oh, yeah, no, I thought you were paying." And every time I've just kind of quietly been like, "Oh, yeah, sure, okay, I'll pay, sorry," like, you know. And this was obviously like, not obviously, this was like some time ago, like, I mean, haven't done anything in 2 years, so over 2 years ago. And I mean, I was just quietly and politely paid and never got paid back. So, you know, I can understand the hesitancy to
pay for people
when you know you.
when everybody else is
Yeah.
paying for themselves. You and the other friends were deciding to pay for yourselves anyway.
100%.
So why would that change?
Yeah.
You having to cover somebody else.
Well, and I mean, even like now, you and I, even when we go to a meal with people and we have even had the like explicit conversation or whatever, like the specific conversation to say, yeah, like they're paying, we'll still go there planning to pay with the knowledge that things happen, and sometimes people either forget that they've made that commitment, or sometimes things happen and maybe they spent a little bit more than they were planning to somewhere else.
Exactly.
You know, just knowing that, I think we're a little bit more strict with when we don't pay for people, other than us, but we're pretty, you know, when we go places, we're pretty specific on, even if it's something that we're like aware somebody else has plans to pay for, we still go in knowing that, or with the plan that we'll pay. And then if we don't, it's like, oh cool, we didn't pay. Like, great. You know.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, and that way, you know, there's never the kind of hurt feelings. There's never the, oh dang, that sucked because somebody didn't follow through and whatnot. But we have also like had to be very specific when we plan to go for food, to be like, okay, like we're all paying for ourselves leading up to it, to make sure that everybody is aware. Yeah. Yeah. Because we want to make sure that there's never, because we've run into this before where people will assume that you're paying, or where we're very certain we've had the conversation that they're paying and then we end up paying, and it's just kind of a thing. And so, yeah. So, I don't think they're the a-holes. I mean, I think they're the a-holes for like leaving him there, but I also think he's the a-hole. I think everybody sucks. I don't know. As somebody who's waitressed before, I feel like the only real loser in this situation is the waitress who had to deal with the people. Like had to deal with the and the other patrons of the like patrons, I don't know, of the restaurant that had to deal with listening to the guy throw a tantrum. And like, although I guess honestly, if we were at a restaurant and we saw this all go down, maybe I wouldn't feel bad for us, because dinner and a show, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. That feels like maybe that's a bad thing to say. Maybe I'm the a-hole, I don't know. I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
If the other friends want to listen, and they will listen, then you can explain to them, you're like, look, we did all this, and then we assumed that they understood that they were paying for themselves, and then they chose not to, then that's on them, not us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's not a lot you can do besides, like, I don't know, like, I mean, hear me out. There has been a number of times in life where I've really wished that I'd left somebody behind. And so, I don't know. I feel like dubbing them not the a-holes, but at the same time, I can't leave people behind because I'd feel like I'm the a-hole. So,
I would say they're not.
yeah. I think most likely the person who is the a-hole is the person who just didn't pay. I mean,
Yep.
you go out, you pay for your meal.
Especially the amount he ordered.
Yeah,
I don't necessarily know how much they ordered, but I can assume that it was way more.
yeah. I mean, honestly, even if all three of you went out and you all racked up a bill each of do you want me to take that? Of $100 each, that's a $300 bill, and I mean, I'm sure lots of people are fine to pay for that, but at the same time, like, that's our power bill. I mean, that's more than our power bill. Like, power, because we have power and gas together, and so, like, that's more than our power and gas bill
Exactly, yeah.
on most months by a lot.
Exactly. So yes. So they are the assholes. And they are not the assholes.
Yeah. So, yeah. Cool. I think the non-payer is the a-hole. Yep. Although maybe in this case the restaurant is the a-hole for having such good food. Yep. That could be. Anyways. Thanks for tuning in.